Results is time plus input plus emotion. It's a very simple formula, but also very effective. And it doesn't just only apply to learning languages, but also to dancing or juggling or learning how to play guitar. And obviously you need all three of them. If you don't spend time in something, then you're not going to learn. And if you don't put in the effort, aka the input, then there is not going to happen anything. So even if you spend a lot of time or you feel really motivated for something, nothing is going to happen. And if you leave out the emotion aspect, then things can get really boring and it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. And it is doable, I guess, but it's really difficult. And I recommend that you do find a way to put emotion into this. And I'll explain more about that later. What I'm trying to say is that if you're learning a language, then it's a really personal journey. And so it's really important that you put some emotion into it, because otherwise you won't feel motivated and therefore you won't make any progress, and then it won't be an efficient way of learning. Now, when it comes to language learning, if your goal is to actually speak, then I guess output is also really important, but the main point here is that you have to somehow acquire knowledge, and that's why I call it input. So now the main question that you're asking right now is, how do I learn X? How do I learn this language? How do I learn English? How do I learn Chinese? Honestly, there is no such thing as how to learn X. We live in a time where our attention span is roughly 8 seconds. And by the way, that of a goldfish is 9 seconds, if I recall correctly. And overall, people just want everything to be faster, as fast as possible, with less effort. And that means that the formula that I just gave you changes from results is time plus input plus emotion to results is time plus activity. Preferably we want to spend the least amount of time possible while getting results and doing a fun activity. And that is the problem, especially if you're going to learn a language. So if your mindset is ready and you're ready to drop your expectations of time and results, then let's go. Now, time is obviously the most important thing in my opinion, and that is because it is just so valuable. It's maybe even more valuable than money, because when you look at it, from the moment you are born, the amount of time that you live goes down. Whereas money, I wouldn't say there's an infinite amount of it, but you can earn money if you spend enough time. If you know what you're doing and you spend time, then you can use time to get more money, but it doesn't work the other way around. Perhaps you know that one saying that goes, if you get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. This is exactly how acquiring knowledge works, because at first you don't know shit about something, but then as you learn, you start to learn more and it gets easier to learn. It's like a graph that goes exponentially. So don't underestimate the power of time. And you know, there's actually in a few languages that I've learned a few phrases that I really like that really have to do with this. For example, we have Chirimo Tsumoreba Yamato Naru, which I really like. And then in that scared the shit out of me, holy f. Sedikit sedikit lama lama menjadi bukit. Hao hao xue xi tian tian xiang xiang. And basically they all mean the same thing. If you study every day, then it'll get better. And in English there's also a saying that I really like personally. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. I just think this phrase is so beautiful because it implies that the best time to do anything is now. Most people overthink the doing and what should I do, but if you just start now, and then time passes by so quickly, so you'll make progress if you just start. So when it comes to learning Chinese, for example, which I've been doing recently, I try to at least study every day for maybe 2 hours. And maybe that sounds like a lot, but actually you can start out with 1 hour too, or maybe half an hour, because you'll find that if you're going and if you're really in the flow and you're really liking what you're doing, then you'll easily get over 1 hour, and then maybe you can try 2 hours as well. But the point is that you have to try every day to study. But of course your question is, what activities do I do? How do I do it? So then the inputs. The activities don't really matter because, what's that saying? Alle wegen leiden naar Rome. All ways lead to Rome. There are more ways that lead to Rome. I don't know. Input comes in so many forms, and it doesn't really matter what you do. Because I don't know you, I don't know what you like or how you work best or what the language is that you're learning. So all I can do is give you an example of how I started learning Japanese when I was 18 years old. So when I was 18, I really liked, and I still do like, playing video games. And one of the games that I was playing was a rhythm game. And one of the songs that I listened was actually in Japanese songs. I thought, hey, what an interesting language is this? So I started looking for beginner Japanese lessons. Long story short, I found a video series that I watched, and after I watched one video, I just went on and watched the next one and then the next one, and I didn't really have any expectations of time or anything really. I just watched the video because I liked them. I would maybe do 2 or 3 lessons a day. I did that for maybe 90 videos, and by the end of that I had a pretty good foundation. It was still kind of shitty, but at least I knew something and I was having fun. Ask yourself, do you want to learn Japanese or do you want to know Japanese? Because if you want to know Japanese, there's no process involved. But if you want to learn Japanese and if you like the learning process, then that is what you should be focusing on. And if you're having fun while doing that, then it becomes way easier because you'll forget the whole time aspect. In my case, I like to learn new things, and if I can use this language to help me learn new things in life, then that is a win-win, and that's where you find your true motivation, and it becomes really easy to learn. I hadn't bought a textbook in like these 4 years. It's only recently that I bought one, JLPTE, because I thought it was really interesting. But then I realized that what's the point of just learning grammar for the sake of it? I didn't buy anything. I just went online, I looked something up out of interest, and I started learning. And right now I'm doing the exact same thing for learning Chinese. I go to the library and I get my video series that I watch. I'll link the video series in the description actually. And I'll just watch 1 or 2 videos and I learn some characters, I learn some words, I learn some grammar, but the most important thing is that I learn something every day. And if I just keep that up for every day, then eventually you'll make so much progress. The thing is that if you look at how we even learn things, it's all through repetition, like everything. If you learn how to drive a car, you only learn it when you go inside the car and you start driving. And if you're learning English, the only way to learn English is by speaking English, like I'm doing right now. If you want to learn how to speak English, then you speak English. Same thing goes for whatever language you're learning. Now, emotion is very important because learning a language is a very personal story. And the reason for that is because language is a tool, so you can use it for a lot of things. Like the secret here is to use the language to enjoy other things in your life. Don't focus too much on learning the language itself. Let's say, for example, you're learning English. Would you study every day from a book? Well, you could, but that's so boring. Instead, don't focus on the learning English aspect. Focus on what you would do anyway, what you like doing in your life. Find a way to mix English with that. For example, if you like music or you like guitar, then go to YouTube and go find some tutorials on how to play guitar and watch them in English. Now, I've been trying to do this too. It's a little difficult because sometimes you want to learn something specific, and if you find it in another language, it's really hard to understand. But you get the idea. Do you like video games? Then go play games in another language. Do you like speaking with people? Then speak with people who speak your language. And then if you start struggling, then you go from there. Instead of finding what are the hard parts and what do I learn, just do something. And then once you start struggling, then you learn that. You learn more things, and then you will encounter something again that you don't understand, and then look it up again. And that's how you should keep going. So that's the main tactic that I use. And the main message is, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You just have to understand that you need a lot of time. So drop your expectations about time. You need input. It could be in forms of books, but that's very boring in my opinion. You can just watch videos, you can do anything, as long as you focus on that and do it every day and find something that you like about it. It's really easy. With that being said, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.